Up Paleo, where we talk all things nutrition straight up. I'm one of your hosts, Christina Rice. I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner, certified primal health coach, and the creator of the Paleo Women Lifestyle Program. You can find me on my website and blog, ChristinaRiceWellness.com, as well as on my other podcast, Wellness Realness.
And I'm your other host, Kara Halderman. I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner from Dallas, Texas, NLP master practitioner and mindset coach, and creator of careaboutit.com. In this podcast, we'll be discussing all things paleo, health, and nutrition, along with answering questions straight from you.
If you'd like to submit a question for us to answer on the podcast, head to straightuppaleo.com or email us at straightuppaleo@gmail.com.
Remember our disclaimer. Materials in this podcast are only to be used as advice and are not to be used in place of general medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
If you want to support the show, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a rating and a review on iTunes. Enjoy the show! Sup, Kara?
Sup? Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Let's just lay it out. What's happening?
Lay it down. Lay down the law. All right. What is happening? Everything is happening. It feels like. I don't know. Ever since I've been back from Hawaii, it feels like my life has been in a vacuum and like time, space, it all doesn't really exist. I'm just living in a bubble, essentially, but it's been really, really fun. Michelle from Unbound Wellness, if you guys know her from one of the previous episodes, like 2 episodes ago, we had our first event on Sunday night, and it was awesome. Like, I've never, ever done an event before where I just speak in front of a crowd of people. Mm-hmm. And, well, first of all, it was a lot more comforting having Michelle, like your friend there, doing it with you. Mm-hmm. But I didn't think that I would really like it that much. And I've never really done public speaking ever before, except for some speech classes in high school and in college. But everyone was like, I was so impressed with your public speaking. And I'm like, thanks. Like, I guess it's all the podcasting that helped me prepare for that. But more than anything, I just really loved seeing like in-person faces and being able to, like, someone asking you a question in person. I feel like it's very different for me, somebody asking me a question in person versus online or even over Skype. Like, I'm really able to pick up on the energy of that person and like kind of feel out the response that they need to hear a lot better. And it was just really good to connect with people. And I met listeners of our podcast, which was really awesome. And it was just so fun. Like, that is the kind of stuff that I just need to keep doing because it lights me up and like lights me on fire and keeps me super inspired. So we do have 2 more coming up. We have one coming up this Sunday. They're all at Brewed. If you're in Dallas, it's a super cute coffee shop. And the tickets are in my bio on Instagram. It's going to be all about healing your gut. Michelle's like the gut health queen. She has so many resources on it. So she's going to be giving all of her tips. And of course, I'll be giving mine too. And we're really going to kind of dive into the nitty gritty of gut health. So if you're in Dallas, we'd love to see you this Sunday. But that's really my biggest update.
That would be so
It was fun.
I wish I could go.
It was a fun life.
I know.
I wish you could too.
Yeah, I think that in-person events are honestly, they're just so rewarding. And it's like you said, it's totally different than talking to people on the internet, you know, or even through Skype. And I'm like planning a few things for real life that I'm really excited about. I think also kind of coming off this weekend, like I just finished my NTA workshop weekend, and we were talking about that in terms of class, and people were kind of sharing why they joined the program, and people were talking about how they joined this program. Part of it was for the workshop weekends and to get that in-person connection, because there are a lot of health programs out there where you just do it online by yourself and you never even meet anyone.
It's not the same.
It's not the same at all.
It feels super impersonal, and it kind of feels like you're just given information, but you have no one to share it with and no one to connect with, you know?
And I also, so I have actually decided that I've been thinking about this a lot, and like my business runs really like well and efficiently, like the way I have it set up. But I really want to be seeing more people in person. So I've decided that I'm gonna like have a few spots open for clients in real life. So if you're in LA, and you want to like work together and do real life coaching, because right now I see everybody over Skype. But I'm gonna open that up so we can do real life nutritional therapying. What's the verb?
Yes,
I don't know.
that's perfect.
So I'm just going to do a few spots. So if you're interested in that and you're in Los Angeles, please let me know. And that will be a lot of fun. So that's kind of me. But then the other thing about real life stuff, this is why Kara and I are so excited about the retreat in August.
SUP retreat.
It's going to be so fun. And it'll be a whole weekend of that, you know?
It's going to be crazy. I keep thinking about it like every week because it keeps rolling up on us. Mm-hmm. It's going to be in August, and I don't know who's going to come, but I'm just really excited to see everybody. And it's just going to be a weekend full of really cool stuff. Like, I didn't think I was going to have anything to talk about, right? Like at this event on Sunday, I'm like, what am I going to say? But then the words start flowing out. And so now I'm really inspired for the retreat, and we're going to give a lot of different talks on like a million different topics, everything from food and nutrition up to like body image, mindset, spirituality, energy. You're kind of getting the full package of workshops, seminars, cooking, and workouts. Mm-hmm. So, and we all get to connect and hang out, which we're really stressing is probably the biggest part of why we host retreats, so we can meet like-minded people and connect, because I feel like the internet is a lonely place sometimes. Yeah. Or it's just not the same.
And you don't realize how different it is in person than when you do. And like, if you guys have never been on a retreat, this type of thing can be truly transformational. You know, you leave it. It's like, do you remember when you used to go to like summer camp when you were younger, and you would have a week? I mean, it depends on the summer camp you went to, but say you went to sleepaway camp for a week, and it was like one of those camps where you did a lot of spiritual. Maybe this was just me. I went to like religious camp, but we did
like I'm smiling because I remember. All
we did like a lot of like spiritual, emotional work, and really got in touch with myself. And then you make these connections with people, and you're talking about really deep topics that you feel like you could never talk with anybody else, and you met these strangers, and one day later you guys just know each other better than anyone else, and then you leave that weekend and you're like, oh my god, my life has changed, I have changed, these people are my soulmates. Right? It's like that. Yes. It's like gonna be like that, and I'm so excited for that.
And it's like you cry all night in your bunk beds in the cabin, and you're like, what is life? Like, literally, I remember that. But it is going to be like that. It really is. And it kind of even reminds me of when I was in Hawaii. Like, Hawaii was kind of like a grown-up retreat. There were people of all different ages, but that's exactly what it was. Like, all of us sharing things and talking about things that we really never talk about people before, like people crying, people laughing. Like, it was absolutely nuts, and I made some amazing friends from that. So it's literally like paleo summer camp. It's going to be so incredible. And that's in August. By the way, it's a weekend in August 10th through the 12th.
Yeah, so we would love to have you there. And if you want to get more details or sign up, go to bit.ly/SUPretreat2018. And we would love to have you. And as the spots fill up, like once they start filling, we're going to help people facilitate like getting rooms and stuff together. So don't worry about accommodations. We'll pair you up with someone if you don't have someone. Because we're all going to get real close.
Like smiling real close. Well, if you just have any like questions or concerns, email us. We want to work with you, and we want to make sure that you can come. Yeah. So if you're thinking about it and you're like on the fence, and maybe the price is an issue, maybe this is an issue, like email us and we'll see what we can do, because we want to see your face there, and we just want as many people to come as possible. So never hesitate to reach out to us about it as well.
Yes, we would love to see you there. And then other fun event, update, sorry. I'm literally running off of, in the past 4 days.
You're on fumes.
In the past 4 days, I've gotten 11 hours of sleep. I mean, besides last night.
What I got last night.
Besides last night. Last night I got a good 8, but I'm just still recovering. Anyways, The next fun thing you need to remember is that we have our monthly giveaway happening with the Baruka's nuts. So we're going to have 5 winners who win a big bag of Baruka's nuts. And all you have to do is leave a rating and a review on iTunes, and you're entered. Anyone who has a rating and review up there is entered to win. And we're going to pick 5 winners at the end of the month. So,
and I have to say, I am going to be making my own Baruka nut butter this week.
Tell me how it goes.
I'm going to make it, and I want to share with you guys how it goes, because if you haven't had a Baruka nut, they're absolutely addictive and you need them in your life. So please leave that rating and review.
Yeah. No, they're so good. Please tell me how that goes.
I'm kind of nervous because I think Baruka, well, not nervous, but like Baruka nuts, they're a little bit less fatty than a lot of other nuts. They have a lot more fiber. So when you like grind it into a butter, I'm like, how is that going to work? Because it doesn't have as much fat. So I don't know. I may have to add oil or something to it.
Yeah, I would add some coconut oil.
Yeah, I probably will, to be honest. But, the random update. So if anyone knows my mom doesn't listen to this podcast. She doesn't have time for that. But if anyone knows my mom, you will know how big of a shock this is. My mom and I are doing a Whole30 together.
Are you serious?
Starting next week, dude. Yes, my mom. Okay, so I love my mom, literally sweetest lady on the face of the planet. My mom has multiple sclerosis, and she does not eat good whatsoever, like at all. She does not eat good. And like, so one of my family members, my aunt and my uncle, they did a Whole30 just kind of like randomly, sporadically. And they both lost like a total of 60 pounds, like in 2 months. They each lost like 30 to 40 pounds just from doing a Whole30. And, that's great for some people if like weight loss is your motivation or whatever. But then they look completely different too. Like they actually have color in their skin. Like they have energy. They talk more. It's very crazy how different of people they are. And my mom saw that and noticed that in them. And she was like, what are you guys doing? And they said, we're doing a Whole30. And she's like, oh, that thing that Kara basically does all the time. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. So I bought her the book, and she's like, we're doing it. It's starting Monday. And I'm like, I actually can't believe this is happening right now. God. I know. I don't know what to do. I really wanted to debate. I was debating on like kind of, I don't know, blogging or like documenting my mom's experience, because she's like a serious normal human being, like eats straight up standard American diet. So if you'd want to see that, let me know, because I think it'd be really interesting to like see her struggles and how she does with that.
I think that'd be interesting. You'll have to keep us updated how it goes, but I'm glad you're doing it with her.
Yeah, I'm not letting her do it alone. No way. She'd fail like on day 1.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited for her.
Me too.
I think that'll be great. I think she's going to feel so great at the end of it.
I think so too. She was just like, she's like, I do want to lose weight, but honestly, she said seeing her family feel better is what she wanted. Mm-hmm. Like she wanted to feel better. And I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Good. Like you have really good motives. Let's do it. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited. I think it'll be a good time. Maybe cool. I might stress myself out. I'm going to cook all of my meals for her, basically. Yeah. Cook everything.
That sounds awesome. Okay, I'm excited. You'll have to please keep me updated. I want to know how it's going.
And another family member update. So my stepmom, I went to dinner with my dad and my stepmom the other night, and my stepmom told me that she has been using Somnifix for like 2 weeks now or something like that, like a week or 2. And she said that this is the first time in years that she has slept through the night. Like she said that she used to chronically get up during the night. I don't know to do what, but she would wake up like 3 a.m. random hours of the night and not really be able to go back to bed. But she's amazed that she has just slept all the way through the night. And my dad snores, and she said that even my dad's snoring hasn't woken her up. So she must be in some really deep sleep with that Somnifix.
That's amazing. I love hearing testimonials about Somnifix. Like when people tell me, someone messaged me, she's also an NTP. She messaged me, and she's been traveling through Africa, I believe, and she told me that she brought Somnifix because she was so curious because we've been talking about it, and she was like, I have slept like a baby while I've been traveling everywhere. And she was like, I've never been able to sleep like this. And I was like, that's amazing. I love hearing all the testimonials. If you guys haven't tried it, you seriously need to. And if you don't know what Somnifix is, it's mouth tape. So you put this tape over your mouth, and it's specially designed where there's a little breathable vent in the front, so you can kind of breathe through it if you need to. And it's also designed so it pops off really easily, and it's hypoallergenic, good for sensitive skin. It doesn't hurt when you take it off. But you just put it over your mouth while you sleep, and it makes you breathe through your nose rather than your mouth, because we are meant to breathe through our noses, and that helps keep us in the parasympathetic rest and digest state so we can stay asleep all night, get that good REM sleep. And sleep is very important.
You are feeling it right now. How important it is.
Feeling it. Like I needed more hours, but the few hours I did get, at least they were deep, but I didn't get enough. But this is the other thing, people. I just want to bring this in another context for people. If you struggle a lot with cravings or appetite, get your sleep in check. Because this is something that a lot of people,
a stress response.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but it's like people will I find a lot of people, as soon as they just sleep enough, they don't have cravings throughout the day because it like regulates their cortisol, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Cravings, and especially for like sweet things and issues with appetite's usually just a stress response type of issue, and like you're really stressed out and your cortisol is high and your body feels like it needs something in its system, like it needs nutrients, because when you're stressed, you're like naturally depleting all of your vitamins and minerals. So your body is just like craving all of the things to get in there and soothe your stress response. So sleep. And that will be like step number 1 to controlling your stress response. And Somnifix is the best way to start. And you can use our code SUPSLEEP for 10% off. Seriously, it'll be the best purchase you've ever made in your life.
Yes.
We promise.
Use that code and tell us if you have a cool testimonial, or just any testimonial. Yep. Any testimonial is cool, so tell us. That'll be amazing. So the other thing I found out, did I talk about this on the podcast last week? No, we recorded that before.
What is it?
So I told you, and I like slyly mentioned it on my stories, but honestly, so much was going on that I was just like, wow, whatever. So I know what you're talking about. Yeah, found out that so I tested for heavy metals before because I was like, I have to have heavy metals. So if you're new here, I've had these gut issues going on for a long time, and all these trying to get help from all these different people, and no one can figure out why as soon as I clear one bacterial overgrowth, I get another, or I get rid of my candida, then it comes back, and then I can't get rid of candida for a year, and all this stuff. Don't worry, I got rid of my candida, but also SIBO keeps recurring, like all this stuff, and this is really common for people who have heavy metal toxicity. And so I tested heavy metals. I've tested them twice, and it was fine. And I was just like, that doesn't make any sense. And then when I went to see that energy healer, she told me that I have heavy metal toxicity. And I go, I tested and I don't have it. But I kind of just felt like I did have it. And I also am very mistrusting of testing in general, but that's a whole other issue. And so I basically resolved to just do a lightweight heavy metal toxicity protocol on myself, just in case, while I cleared up a few other things. And meanwhile, I decided to do a different type of test, and I did another test, and I did a urine test, and it came back and it said I had bromine toxicity. And I checked the other tests that I had gotten before, and they didn't test for bromine. So
that's very interesting.
Yeah, and I was like really, really high. Like it said the high value where you're toxic was 4,000. I think normal was like 1,500 something. I don't even know what units these are, but just so you have an idea, it was like 1,500 was like normal, 4,000 was like really toxic, and I was at 9,000.
Oh, that's like, I like hear that. I'm like, oh
yeah,
God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was like, oh,
okay.
Shoot. So yeah. So doing that a little bit,
So like how? Just how?
I honestly think it's residual from all of the white bread and soda I ate the first 21 years of my life. Honestly.
It's also in the water.
Yeah.
Too.
But
bromine.
Yeah. But I just think it's more, I don't know. That's kind of what I think it is. So I don't think it's like I'm on the daily exposing myself to high levels of bromine right now. I think it's more of just like my whole life accumulated and I never tested it or figured it out, but it makes sense, I guess. So continuing on, I mean, I had started my metals stuff before that. And then I found out and I was like, okay, I guess I'll keep going. So doing that, and then I'm going to roll from that into a SIBO protocol, that I'm honestly pretty proud of myself because I've been doing some crazy intense research surrounding hydrogen sulfide SIBO, which there's no official test for and not a ton of information about. But I collected a lot of information regarding sulfur intolerances and what they do know about hydrogen sulfide SIBO, and then try to overlap it with what's going on with this heavy metal stuff. And I came up with some protocol that I'm going to test out on myself. So
proud of you.
We're going to see. I mean, I'm proud of myself because I spent a lot of time researching and digging through some obscure things.
I 100% believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So I'm going to see how this goes, and if this works, I'm going to be really excited because every other practitioner is like, there's nothing to do with hydrogen sulfide SIBO. You just treat it the same and hope it goes away, and you're destined to eat this way forever. And I'm determined not to. And if this works, then hopefully this can help other people too. So we'll see how it goes. But meanwhile, while I'm going on this journey, I also am going to do, I think, a carnivore diet experiment.
I'm like speechless. I never thought I would hear those words come out of your mouth, but I'm very interested. I'm very interested.
I'm very curious. I'm not planning on doing this like long term, but I'm in the very experimenty mood, and I was debating doing something where I did 2 weeks vegan, 2 weeks carnivore diet, and like compared and contrasted. But then I decided not to because I know that I'll feel horrible 2 weeks vegan. So I was going to say,
I don't think you could make it 2 weeks vegan.
There's just no way. So I'm planning on 1 to 2 weeks maybe, and just see how I feel. And I just want to see what's going on. And it's a good time for me to do it because when there's a period of time where I need to be like low sulfur, low FODMAP for a part of this. And honestly, it's easier for me just to not eat vegetables.
Well, it's kind of like the same thing as doing a vegan diet. You're just literally on both opposite ends of the spectrum. Like they're both still a form of detoxification. And if you're a person that really struggles with reactivity to vegetables and like you feel like there's nothing you can do about it, like cut it out, do like that carnivore style diet. And it's like a detox from the vegetables and you may end up feeling better at the end of it. Same thing with a vegan diet. Some people can't even digest meat or are reacting to all sorts of meat and animal protein. They go on a vegan diet for a couple weeks, feel amazing, and it helps all their issues. So it's like the same principle.
Exactly. And I honestly think it's going to help.
I think it will too. I think it would really help with like your bloating stuff.
Yeah, because I told you, I feel like I'm just reacting to every single vegetable right now, and it's like that. It's like I just need a detox from that. But I also am not going to do a fast, an extended fast. And so this is a good way to detox while still getting plenty of nutrition. I mean, we don't need vegetables. Like, we don't need them to survive.
Yes.
We don't need them to survive, right? But
thrive, I don't know. Depends. There's difference between survive versus thrive.
Yeah, it's debatable, but I'm also not like I'm going to be a carnivore diet person. I'm just trying to do this for 1 to 2 weeks. I just want to see how it feels.
Watch this work, and then you're all of a sudden like, I am now a carnivore.
I will do that.
This forever.
I'm not going to do that.
You love cauliflower too much.
I love it too much. I would never, I I would never do a carnivore diet my whole life.
Me either.
I see, this is a whole other topic, but I see problems with that. But I think that the body does well with, a 1 to 2 week experiment is not going to do anything bad.
No, it'll be fine.
Yeah. I think it'll help me during the healing process, actually. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to start that, I think, after I'm going away this weekend for my sister's bachelorette party. And I think when I get back, I'll do it.
Cool. Keep us updated because I'm very intrigued.
Well, I'm still trying to decide if I want to do like mono meals or like different types of meat at one meal.
Oh, no, just keep it mono. Just keep it mono.
I feel like I'll get so bored. I'm a little scared about how much meat I'm going to eat.
Me too. You're going to eat like a pound of salmon in one sitting.
I'm going to eat like 5 pounds of meat a day. Maybe 6.
Oh, God. Well, you can eat like, I thought you could eat unlimited fat too.
You can, so basically the quote rules, you can eat any animal fat and animal protein. So you can't have coconut oil.
Yeah, it's just all animal fat.
Yeah, so.
Wow. That's intense.
I gotta stock up on my fatty meats.
All right, good luck.
Thanks.
Please keep me updated. I need to hear about it.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
So yeah, that's basically it. Shall we hop into the questions?
Yes, I think so. And our questions have nothing to do with the carnivore diet. So
whatever.
Or anything. Like,
fine.
They're so random. Okay, let's jump into the first one. Oh, this one is kind of like a continuation of our last podcast. We were talking about periods and all that stuff, and we kind of grouped this one into there, but we didn't quite get to it yet. So we're on to like periods and woman stuff part 2 for this question. Okay. She says, hi, Kara and Christina. I heard you on one of your podcasts. She said she's looking for more questions, so she sent one in. She said, how do you feel about spore-based probiotics? I saw Lisa from Zinc Nutrition talk about them on her story, and I Googled it, parentheses, not always a great idea, and read so many mixed opinions. This is the question and she has another question. This is the question I've been hesitant to submit because it might be too entailed for a podcast discussion, and or you might have already addressed this but haven't gotten to it. But I'm married and I want to get off birth control really badly. I started taking it in high school, probably around 16 or 17, to help with acne, and then stopped for around half a year my senior year of college. My face got worse again, which bothered me, but it wasn't enough to convince me to get back on birth control. Then I got engaged, so I went back on it. I've been on it for probably about 3-ish years now this time. I've never had any problems with it. I've used the same one for years and don't have side effects, but I hate being on it for hormonal reasons, and I'm scared that my period may be really jacked up and I don't know it. It wasn't jacked up before I got on birth control as a teen, and it wasn't jacked up when I got off for a few months, but I still have this underlying concern. I'm gluten-free, dairy-free, and almost have been for 6 years. I'm switching over my products to non-toxic. I'm learning to be more hormone conscious in my diet. But since I'm married and have capital no intentions of having kids for a long time, I shudder at the thought of being sexually active off birth control. If anything, what are some starting points, tips, things to be aware of to make switches off birth control? And she says she's really overwhelmed, but she thinks this is the one piece that's holding her back from reaching a higher level of overall health. 2 questions that have nothing to do with each other, but are really great questions.
What do you want to start with?
I want to just talk about the spore-based probiotics question first, since that has nothing to do with like hormones or anything like that. So I did a lot of research recently on different types of probiotics, and I was just kind of curious like how all this works. And there are different classes of probiotics. There are the spore-based probiotics. There's like lactobacillus-based probiotics / bifidobacteria probiotics. And then there's the acidophilus probiotics. And then there's yeast-based probiotics like Saccharomyces boulardii. And they all have different purposes. So spore-based probiotics are not like cultivated from a germ like the lactobacillus type are. They are a different type of probiotic that is carried in soil. And they're called spore-based probiotics because they form spores and they spread extremely quickly. So like when they get into the intestine, it basically just like populates the crap out of your intestine because it's spore-based. Spore type things spread very fast. So it gets into the intestine, spreads really, really quickly. And they are said that spore-based probiotics actually colonize into the intestines, where a lot of probiotics don't colonize in the intestine. They don't even make it past the stomach acid, but the spore-based ones are acid resistant. So they just go in there and start colonizing. And I also read a lot of mixed reviews about saying that they're bad, saying that they're good, but really I don't think that they're either one because they colonize really quickly. Some people say that it's caused their gut microbiome to, like, they almost have an overgrowth of this bacteria, but I think that's very few people, in my opinion, and I think you already have to have some sort of severe dysbiosis going on. But the more recent research on spore-based probiotics say that the probiotics used in the spore-based ones actually have antiviral, antiparasitic, and antibacterial properties. So the probiotics that get into the intestine actually help with dysbiosis and repopulating the gut. And because they're acid resistant, they actually make it into the intestines, which is a really big deal. So I actually haven't really seen a whole lot of negative things. I think the people that are spreading the negative about spore-based probiotic, they don't really have a lot of evidence and research to back it up. There are a couple studies, but there are more studies going towards spore-based probiotics. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I think that the world of probiotics is incredibly confusing and interesting.
Oh, it is.
And this is a topic that, I mean, I feel like there are a lot of topics in health and wellness where I have a clear stance, but this is one of those things, like, people are researching this right now, and this is something where, as practitioners, we have to be willing to, like, look at what we know and kind of say what we think, but also be willing to change our minds as new research comes out. So I can sit here and tell you what I think right now, but I'm very open to the fact that maybe something will come out in 3 or 4 or 5 months, and maybe I'll be wrong then, you know?
Yeah, who knows?
Is all, like, new research, and I know what I read up on and also what I experienced personally. And I think that the spore-based probiotics personally have had a huge positive impact on me, and I also see that with clients as well. And looking into the research, it's like what Kara said. I mean, these guys make it through the harsh environment, the highly acidic environment in our stomach, which is a lot of not spore-based probiotics, they just die in there, you know. And this is why companies are telling you need so many CFUs, because they're just hoping something makes it through. These are actually going to make it down into your gut. And the thing is that they're, like Kara said, so they're very selective. So they actually help, they're selective in which bacteria they help repopulate in the gut, if that makes sense. So they pick the good guys to try and help repopulate versus the bad guys. And this is the thing, like she says, they really, really help to grow, but that could be a bad thing for somebody who literally has no good gut bacteria.
Right.
Does that make sense? So I think you're right in that it's like the people who are saying negative things are those few people who have severe gut problems and then are putting this in there, and it's just repopulating the bad bacteria. And then that's their experience. And of course, the people with the negative reactions are the loudest on the internet. You know, when you buy something and it works really well, it's like people are less likely to go rave about it than if something works horribly, then they want to tell the whole world not to use it, right?
It's like on Amazon, no one wants to read the 5-star reviews. Yeah. They only want to read the 1-star reviews.
Exactly.
You know?
So I think Kara's right. And like some people, maybe it is negative, but I think for 98% of the population, they really, really help. And I talked a bit about this with Dr. Ruscio, who I think is like one of the top, like when it comes to gut health, he's one of the top people I trust.
Oh, Gut king.
Yeah,
yes.
he dives into all of this. And my podcast with him, we talk a lot about probiotics on that one. That comes out on Monday, so I would listen to that too for Wellness Realness podcast. But also his book talks a lot about this, and he's a big believer in them as well. And I, like the Just Thrive probiotic that I talk about all the time, like clinical trials, that's the one that's been used in trials that has been shown to help like reverse leaky gut. They've actually done trials on this. So there is research behind it, and I'm a big believer in it. But I also am a believer in not just picking. I think that it works best when you're using that spore-based probiotic also in combination with a few other good strains. Yeah. Like
I feel the same exact way because spore-based probiotics are very specific. They're like one type of bacteria, and I think it starts with a B. It's called like bacillus or bacillus, something like that. And they're very like one strain, and that's just one type of good bacteria. And if you're a person that has had a compromised gut, maybe you've taken a lot of antibiotics in your day, and you feel like you're lacking in good gut bacteria, you may need more than one strain to help repopulate your gut. You may need to incorporate acidophilus or lactobacillus and bifidobacteria in as well. So maybe like cycling out your probiotics is a really good idea too. But I don't think spore-based probiotics are bad, and I don't think they're like super good either. I think, like Christina was saying, with probiotics, it's really about finding which one works for you. And I'm kind of a believer that what probiotic works after about 2 weeks. I really believe that you can kind of tell if something is working for you, or if you start to see a change within your gut. Within 2 weeks, you can usually tell. Like, I know for me, I was put on a Saccharomyces boulardii probiotic, and that's a certain strain of yeast, but it's a beneficial yeast, and it's been known to fight overgrowth of other types of yeast like candida and like parasites and all that stuff in the intestines. And I was put on that, and it did not do good things for me. I felt absolutely terrible. And then there are other people that Saccharomyces boulardii basically changed their whole gut flora. It helped them like fight infection. So there is no answer to the question of like, is this right for me? You can usually tell if it's going well for you.
Exactly. But I definitely think like they are very useful. I'm just going to put it out there. Whenever I have a client who is dealing with leaky gut / a gut issue, I put them on a spore-based probiotic in combination with other things because I think it's really, really helpful. And I've never had anyone that not work for, honestly.
It worked really well for me too. I used Prescript Assist before they changed their formula. And like, I recommended that to everyone because it did such amazing things for me. And I've heard the same with other brands like Silver Fern and Megaspore. I've heard like more good things about Megaspore because they've done a lot of research too. Yeah. And like on their website, they have a lot of resources if you want to read through it as well. Yeah. So it's a good place to get some more information about them.
Yep. Cool. So
all right, next question. Let's get into the
talk about the natural birth control, was it?
Yeah, so she's been on birth control for years, like basically on again, off again since she was 16, 17. And she doesn't feel like she has any like period type issues. She never really had any period issues. She was just kind of on it to help her with acne. And now she's on it because she's in a relationship and she does not want to get pregnant, but she feels conflicted because she doesn't want to get pregnant, but she also wants to be healthy. And she feels like birth control is holding her back. And I can tell you, I was in that exact same spot for a long time because no one, like when you're not ready for kids, like you will do anything to not have kids. And that's like where I was, like I will be on birth control till the day I die and I will not get pregnant. Like I'm just not a kids person. It's not me. But I went to a naturopath and she was like, if you want to do anything good for yourself, like you will get off birth control right now. And we've talked time and time again about why birth control may not be a good option for a lot of women. So you can go back and listen to other podcasts. We can put those in the show notes for you. But basically, I just want to give some tips on what to do if you're coming off birth control and like what to do if you're sexually active. So I do think that going off birth control is a good idea, especially it seems like you have like a gut feeling. I'm not telling you go off of it, but it may be a good idea because it seems like you have a gut feeling that this is keeping you from being a healthier person. And for a lot of people, it is keeping a lot of people from being super healthy because it does compromise gut function, B vitamins, lots of things. So I would say go off of it and start educating yourself about your cycle. Get books like Taking Charge of Your Fertility. That was the first book that I ever read, like when I was 19, about my period. And it tells you all about your cycles, the phases you go to, when you can get pregnant, which it's actually not as often as you think. You think that like, oh, I can just get pregnant at any time, and that's not actually true. So go and get some resources like Taking Charge of Your Fertility and learn about your cycle. That's really important. And while you're doing that, like, just use a condom. I'm sorry, but like, use a condom. Like, I think that's a very simple solution.
It is.
I'm just saying, like, why are you just use a condom? Like, I don't know. That seems simple to me because that's honestly, I'm just gonna be real. That's kind of all I do. I like track my cycle. I know what phase I'm in and I use condoms, and it's been years and I'm like, good.
Okay, well,
I don't know.
I have a slightly different perspective. I really recommend the Daisy Fertility Tracker. I'm a big believer in
that's cool too.
Checking your temperature, looking at the app. I think that's also really empowering as a woman to really get in tune with your body and figure out when you're ovulating and when you're menstruating, obviously, you know, and when you're in your follicular phase, and when you're just knowing what's going on with your body. And you might also find out some new things about yourself, like, oh, during this time, like, I crave this type of food, and during this time I crave another type of food, and during this time I'm more tired and I want to do this type of workout. And, you know, like, I think it just helps you learn more about your body, like, as you're getting in touch with when you're ovulating, when you're not. And then I agree, I think during the times when you can get pregnant, like the Daisy Tracker, you know, you take your temperature every morning, and how is this is honestly, I think, easier than remembering to take a pill. Because it's just first thing you get up, immediately first thing you do is take your temperature, you know? And then you have this app that'll tell you when you're good to go, when you're not. And when you're not good to go, then yeah, I would use a condom, or don't have sex, but use a condom. My thing with using a condom all the time that I'm not a fan of is I am very suspect of condoms, and I don't want condoms. I wouldn't want condoms
gross
in my vagina all the time. The same way I don't want non-organic tampons in my vagina.
Like,
because,
seriously,
like,
condoms are gross.
Yeah, like, you're putting crap up there, and I just don't like, I mean, if I like, I'm very picky about what food I eat. I'm just as picky as what goes in the other end.
You can find non-toxic condoms. Well, I'll tell you right now, they don't work very good. But like, I will tell you that they don't. They're not comfortable. Like, they break. Like, not a good idea.
So that's the trade-off. So that's why I would say, that's my suggestion, is to do the Daisy Fertility Tracker, and then times when you need a condom, then use the condom, but at least you're not using a condom all the time. So you're minimizing that. And if you need lube, use coconut oil.
Yeah, there you go. And I really think overall, you're just like letting this fear of getting pregnant really like get into your whole body. Like, it's obsessing like over your mind. Like, I can just see it in this paragraph when I read it. You're just like legit terrified at the possibility of getting pregnant, and like, get it, girl, I've been there. But your health is also like really important.
I was just gonna say, don't accidentally manifest a pregnancy.
Yeah, don't do that. I will say, so the things that you fear, you actually attract most, because you're thinking about it all the time, and it's always on the top of your mind. So if you're always thinking about how scared you are to get pregnant, you're actually attracting just that, getting pregnant. So I'm serious. Like, that is just law of attraction. That's how it works with energy flow. So I think you just need to give up this fear of getting pregnant. Not saying like go out and be reckless and like, you know, have a free for all, but just let go of the crazy obsession of not having a baby and just be safe and get to know your body and be healthy. I think going off birth control is a great idea, and you don't have to be scared and afraid because there are so many other tools out there. And I think it really will help your health, even if you say you have no period issues, maybe just overall. It can help with your health and mental well-being because, you know, birth control actually causes like depression and anxiety in a lot of people as well. So it can be super helpful.
Definitely agree with that. And when you look at the numbers, you guys, about how effective the different birth control methods are, why am I blanking on what they call it? Family planning? What's it called? It's like something planning, family planning method, or something awareness method.
I think it is
Something awareness method is what they call it. I don't know. I forgot. But whatever it's called. Using, like, checking your temperature and doing it that way is just as effective as using birth control pills when you look at the numbers, like, as long as you're doing it right. So I would just stick with that, you know? And I think it's funny because we hear it both ways, where it'll be like, we get kind of scared into getting pregnant because you hear these stories, like, it can happen, you know, people are careless and it can just happen anytime, you know, and then people get scared and then that scares them into being safe. But then, you know, we all hear about those girls who have a lot of sex and they never use protection and they're not on birth control, and you think, how has she not gotten pregnant yet? You know?
Basically.
It's all just what are the odds, because we can only get pregnant like 6 or 7 days a month, you know?
Yeah, you're only fertile for so many days.
So, and only 1 or 2 of them is because of us. The rest of the days are just because sperm stay alive for like 5 days. Those spermies, they just won't die. So, you know, it's just about the luck of the draw. But I would definitely say, if you go off of birth control, I would definitely recommend telling your practitioner you're going off. I wouldn't just blindly go off.
Oh, yes, please tell your doctor.
Yeah, I definitely think you should talk to them about that and let them know. Things to keep in mind going off, I recommend a probiotic. Speaking of probiotics, to help with the gut flora. You're probably depleted in B vitamins, like Kara mentioned. Zinc is usually a good one to supplement with. Lots of cruciferous vegetables. You know, it's really about rebalancing your hormones and letting them get back in check. And you got to let things balance out a bit, because there is this whole post-hormonal birth control syndrome that is sort of the new adrenal fatigue, like how people are saying it's not real, but it's real. And sometimes people have symptoms after this, and the sooner you figure out if there's anything deeper going on that has been caused from years on the pill, the better, because the sooner you can start addressing that root issue. Yep.
I completely agree. That's really all I have to say about that one.
Okay. Have you ever used a diaphragm?
No, and I have no intention.
Just curious.
Like, zero intention. Oh, a note, like, I know this will probably come up. Somebody will probably ask us about IUDs. I just personally
That's a whole
don't
other
think
can of
they're
worms.
a good idea. I just want to put that out there. I don't think they're a good idea. I've heard so many absolutely terrible things, and the fact that you have this thing just like attaching to your uterus that has literally a laundry list of side effects, including corroding into your uterus and causing infertility. I just think that's a very bad plan. And I think there are just way more effective ways than like doing that. You know what I mean? Like, there are more effective ways than having to go such extreme measures that you're putting like this little robot thing with arms and legs like up your vagina into your uterus and attaching it to your walls.
That is the opposite of paleo.
That sounds ridiculous. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
like, when you
is.
think about it, it's just like, why do we want to do things the easy way? Nothing really wrong with doing things the easy way, but sometimes the easy way is not always like the healthiest way. And you're just willing to put this thing up there because it's easy.
But that's just a state of mind, Kara. Like, it's just as easy to use a condom or to take your temperature in the morning. Like,
I know, but it actually requires more effort. Like, it requires more effort to be like, okay, we're going to put this condom on now. Okay, I'm going to take my temperature. Like, it's something you actually have to think about. People want to, like, one and done. It's over. I'm never thinking about this again.
Oh, trust me.
They don't think about the repercussions.
You think about it because it can literally destroy your health. I have heard so many heartbreaking stories of these things really, really negatively affecting people's lives. Like, I mean, if you're putting a foreign object, no matter what it is, in your body, you're putting your body at risk for autoimmunity right there. Your body doesn't like when you're putting foreign objects in it, you know? And all these stories of copper toxicity are horrifying me. And, I mean, what do you do? Like, that is scary when you have something implanted in your body and then you're realizing that your body's attacking itself because of it, and then you feel like, I need to get this out, you know? But then you take it out, and now you have to deal with the repercussions. So I just think it's a much bigger decision than people are making it out to be. I know people who are just like, I decided I'm going to get an IUD tomorrow. And I'm thinking, oh my God, not to mention...
Like, this isn't an overnight thing.
Yeah, not to mention how many practitioners aren't trained properly in putting it in. And they put it in incorrectly. That's a whole other issue. Like, even if there were no other side effects, like, that's a big one. I have a friend who works with one of the, like, top IUD specialists, and she was studying with her when we were at UCLA and did so much research on this, and she really believes in IUDs, but she was just telling me how, like, 95% of IUDs that are put in incorrectly and cause all of these issues down the line. So it's also just an issue of how many people are just not properly trained and don't have the experience. And she was like, you know, if you ever know somebody who needs to get an IUD in, make sure they're going to somebody who, like, this is all they studied. Because people who where they're doing other stuff, they're just not properly trained because it's a very particular skill. But even so, there's something in your body that can cause major issues. So, yeah, that's my feelings on the IUD.
Well, we opened up that can of worms.
Yeah, we did. Sorry.
Well, anyways, sorry, but just use condoms and other things. Daisy, fertility. You can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah, you can do it. So that's cool. Shall we move on to the next topic?
Yes, let's do it.
Do you want to
Let's do this next one.
Okay, you can read it.
Okay, sure. So this one's from Annika or Anika. I'm not sure which one. But she says, hi, guys. Love the show and the role models that you are. Thank you. She says, I have a question about coping, so to speak, with friends, coworkers, peers, etc., that seem to be able to eat anything, be fit, have perfect skin, and have no health issues. I try not to have pity parties for myself, but sometimes I get so frustrated. I mean, seriously, how come people can eat pizza, what seems to be like bagfuls of gluten, LOL, but really, dairy with every meal, and get 4 hours of sleep at night after binge drinking, and they seem to be fine? It's honestly not like I want to eat this junk or live this lifestyle, but I know how bad it is for me and how terrible I'd feel. But it's not hard to get confused. I eat dairy one day by accident, break out for the next week straight. I have basically no hormones and suffer from constant bloating, and people that eat and live like this seem to be fine. She says, P.S. I recently switched from paleo keto diet to just paleo. I'm very strict with it and have been for 6 months. So she says, so my question ultimately is, how does this work? And how do I deal with accepting my situation and being fine with it? Why do the healthiest people seem to be the people that eat everything? So please help me deal with life. LOL. Thanks for all you do. I'll let you take this one away.
Woo, woo. Okay.
I love this question.
A big one and a complicated one. Okay. This is the first thing we need to realize. You cannot judge someone's health based on just what you think you see looking at them.
We've said this over and over and over again.
AKA all of Instagram. All these people continue to be health bloggers or health Instagrammers have major health issues. And sometimes these are people who are lying about the state of their health. And sometimes it's people who literally don't even realize they have health issues. Because the truth of the matter is, most of America is walking around feeling like crap, and they think they feel fine because they've gotten used to feeling fine. So I can't tell you how many people I talk to, and I go, do you have any digestive issues? And they go, no, my digestion's great. And then later on they go, oh yeah, well, I haven't pooped in a few weeks. Or they say, well, I have diarrhea like 4 or 5 times a day. Oh yeah, well, I'm always bloated if I eat that. And I go, wait, I thought you said you never have digestive issues. And they go, well, yeah, but that's normal. And I think, oh my gosh, you're just so unaware. Or same with like the energy problems, the fatigue, people who are depending on their coffee to feel fine all day, or they're always hangry, or they're waking up in the middle of the night. These are health markers that people they think are normal because they're common. Common is not normal, So a lot of people don't even realize that they feel bad at all. And they're just living life blissfully ignorant of the fact that they could feel way, way better. That's one situation. Another scenario is sometimes things just haven't caught up with people. So I dealt
especially
with this,
when you're young.
Yeah,
too.
I dealt with this a lot. Like when I was young, I mean, this is what happened to me. I ate like crap and I treated my body horribly. And I said, I can do whatever I want. And my parents would say, you really shouldn't eat that. It's so bad for you. And I go, really? Because I always eat like this. And look at me. I feel fine. I'm great. I'm thriving. I would say this. And I thought I was just...
I'm thriving.
I thought I was one of those people who could eat whatever I want, do whatever I wanted, never exercise, and I would just be fine. And then my body just exploded a few years later. So a lot of times it just hasn't caught up to them. And I deal with this a lot with clients who... their bodies are more sensitive and maybe we have to eliminate more foods for a certain period of time, or maybe they have to stop working out for a certain period of time to heal the hormones, or, they have to do things and they're looking at other people and feeling like, why can't I do what that girl's doing? Well, first of all, that woman isn't you, Second of all, you don't know that what she's doing is making her feel good. Third of all, you don't know that what she's doing isn't going to make her feel like crap 3, 4, 5 years down the line, because this is why a lot of women are in hormonal trouble, because they're destroying their bodies now, and when the symptoms come up, it's kind of too late, and then they don't make the connection, because it's not one of those things where, oh, I cut my finger, I bleed, I can connect what I know what caused this, right? It's like, I ate like crap for a few years. I overtrained. I did X, Y, and Z, or maybe I was like a slug. I never got out of my bed, right? And then years down the line, you have these mysterious symptoms, and you think, I don't know what's happening to my body. Well, I'll tell you what's happening to your body. You abused it a few years before, but it takes that long to recover, and for things to pop up. So I know it can be difficult at times, but it's also like, you are protecting yourself for the future and dealing with things now, and it's better that you're addressing them now rather than later when things get worse, versus people who continue to live like this, it's gonna catch up with them. That's all I have to say. Basically, it's gonna catch up with them, or they're not living the quality of life that they're claiming to live, Because people can 100%. Look like they're having a great time and feel great and have all this energy, and inside they're so tired and they feel horrible and they have headaches and they're unhappy. And maybe it's not even physical. Maybe they don't have digestive issues, but maybe they're depressed, or they have anxiety, or you know what I mean? All these things crop up, and at the end of the day, it's looking at the long-term game, not just this short-term instant gratification situation. And in the long term, you're going to be in the better situation, and in the long term, this is going to catch up with them.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great thing to keep in the back of your mind. Like when you see these people, that it's not all that it's cracked up to be. And you need to remember that they're not telling you the bad. They're not telling you everything. So that's something to always keep in mind, and can be kind of like a motivating factor to keep doing what you're doing. But for my side of this piece, I'm going to keep it short and sweet, but I have some tough love for you, to be honest. When I read this question, I had a lot that just kind of flushed into my mind. And I don't know how long you've been on this health journey. I don't know how long like you've been doing all of this, but I just want to know, like, why are you so jealous? Mm-hmm. Why are you, and you're very jealous and you're very bitter. And to be completely honest, I think you are like regretting the diet change that you've made. You're like not happy that you had to do this. You're not happy that you had to change your diet. And you seem to be resenting this and you're suffering. Like you have to look at the language that you're using. It's very jealous. So why are you so jealous of them? And this probably isn't really an issue resolving the diet whatsoever. Most likely when something triggers you this bad, something just like this has happened previously in your life, but maybe it was like within another scenario. So like, what were you so jealous of? Like when you were a kid, when you were a child, like, did you have friends that you were really jealous of that like they did stuff that you couldn't do? Was that within your family? Because this isn't just about your food. This jealousy is not just about your food. Something else happened that is triggering you to have all this jealousy towards others. And I just also want to say that it doesn't seem like you're extremely proud of the changes that you've made in your life. And you don't seem to be very grateful for the fact that you have completely turned your whole entire life around in the way that you are eating. And maybe that's because you're not seeing really the results that you want. But until that you've accepted where you are right now, and until you're proud of the amazing changes that you've made into your life, you will never be able to move forward, because nobody will ever be able to see you as confident because you made those life changes. They'll only see you as bitter and jealous because you are wishing that you could be like other people. You're still wishing you could eat that and be okay. So mindset shifts here. Mm-hmm. Be grateful for what you're doing for your body, because as long as you're resenting the way that you're eating, you're never going to move towards that direction that you want. And you're never going to let go of all of this anger that you're holding. And one last thing I have to say is, you say, I try not to have pity parties for myself. Why? Why do you try not to have pity parties? I think it's actually important to throw yourself pity parties, but put a time limit on it. So that's what I do. When I get really frustrated at something, I learned this like in NLP and in a lot of other books. And I do this, like Corey and I do this with each other all the time. I'll get really pissed off and like, be a little bitchy and whatnot. And he'll come at me. He's like, all right, Kara, how much time do you need? And I'm like, give me 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so for 10 minutes, I am the biggest bitch. I get out all of my anger. I cry. I do whatever I want. And when that 10 minutes is over, I move on. Mm-hmm. And that anger is gone. And I think it is extremely important to be like, okay, how much time do I need? I'm really jealous right now. I'm feeling really angry that like all these people can drink and party and do all of this. And I can't, like, gosh, why can't I do that? And like, allow yourself to get frustrated and say, okay, I need an hour. Or maybe you need a day, like at first. Like in the beginning, I needed hours, to be honest, to really process my emotions, because I don't think you're actually fully feeling your emotions. I think it's coming up and you're getting frustrated and you're feeling resentful, and then you're trying to shove it back down. Mm-hmm. But you need to completely feel it. So give yourself a time limit and freaking do what you need to feel those emotions of anger. And you also learn a lot about it, and you actually start to think about like, what is triggering me to have this anger? So you then have like an hour or a day to really explore yourself, get those emotions. And then once that time limit is up, you move on. You let all of that go and you don't let that carry on anymore. And it's I'm not even kidding you, one of the most transformative tools that you can use, because it really just lets you let shit go, to be completely honest. The other thing, I have one last tool. So you also seem to be judging these people. Which is a reflection that you're probably judging yourself. So another tool that you can use is if you feel like you're getting angry at people and you feel like you're judging them and judging yourself for all these dietary things, you can do what I call create a no judgment zone. So with your hand, like you're standing up on the floor, literally draw a circle and call that your no judgment zone. And I want you to envision what it would be like to approach this situation from no judgment. You're not judging others. You're not judging yourself. You're just looking at it completely objectively, and look at it, see what that looks like, see what that feels like, see what that sounds like, and put that in that circle that you drew with your hand on the floor. And then once you've done that, step into it. So now you've stepped into your no judgment zone. You know what it looks like. You know what it sounds like. You know what it feels like. You're not allowed to judge anymore. That's where you are. You're in there. It's a state change. So those are just little simple techniques you can use to change your state. And like the more you do them, the less frustrated you get. And it really helps with controlling like these urges that you feel. And you'll get more insight into why you feel this way, so you can really make long-lasting changes.
I think those are really, really great tips and really helpful. I also have a few other things I want to say really quickly. First of all, why are you hanging out with people who clearly have a totally different lifestyle than you?
That too.
I'm wondering, and this isn't an issue if those people don't trigger these feelings in you, but part of me is wondering if the people who you're around are saying things or doing things that are making you feel like you don't like the way you're living. And in that case, because I mean, Kara and I both hang out with people who don't eat paleo at all, who eat unhealthy, but they don't like judge us or make us feel weird about it. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think these people are judging her though. I think she's judging them.
Well, if they're triggering you, I don't know. If it's triggering you, then it's like, why are you hanging out with them? Is my status. I think that we should be surrounding people who have similar life values, honestly. And if your friends are going out binge drinking every night, then like, totally, I don't really know what you have in common. The other thing is, I think that to me, it feels like this question is coming from a place of you feel restricted. And if you feel restricted, let's change that, because paleo shouldn't feel restricted like that. It shouldn't feel like that. And I think a big piece of this is, so she said she recently switched from a paleo keto diet to just paleo. I'm very strict with it, and I have been for about 6 months. If you paleo keto can be super restrictive, you know, and that could bring up a lot of these feelings coming from that period of time. So I'm glad you just went back to regular paleo. But maybe, there are different versions of paleo. Maybe you're doing a too strict version of paleo. Like, if you're feeling bad that your friends don't have, like, your friends can have pizza and you're saying you can't, well, guess what? You can. You're telling yourself you can't. You can make a paleo pizza. They have paleo pizza crusts all over the place. You know what I mean? But also a big piece of this is your self-talk. Like, you're saying yourself, I wish I could have that. I can't have that. No, you can't have that. You're just choosing not to because it makes you feel X, Y, and Z. You know, so when you're telling yourself, I could have that if you want, because you can, it's not against the law for you to go eat that. No one's stopping you but yourself. So remind yourself of why you're stopping yourself from that. You're saying, I could have that, but I don't want to, because I know if I have that dairy, I'm going to break out. And when I break out, I don't feel good because it doesn't make me feel good about myself. You know, so it's not that you can't, it's that you're choosing not to. And then again, it's like, what type of paleo are you doing? You know, how restrictive are you being? Are you, like, make the fun paleo foods. Make a paleo baked good. Go get a paleo baked good. Or if it's really this restrictive, then maybe eat something that's not paleo. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe just do it. Maybe try, like, you know what I mean? Like, just try, and maybe don't go for a big offender. But, you know, like, if you react really badly to dairy, like, maybe try, like, what would happen if you had some quinoa for a second? You know, like that probably wouldn't, you know, but if you're feeling restricted, you got to do something so that you're not feeling restricted, because if you're doing paleo and it's feeling restrictive to you, then it's not the right fit. The way we eat, our lifestyle should feel like a lifestyle because we like it and it makes us feel good. And if you're feeling restricted in any way, we got to switch something up, because that's not good for you.
Exactly.
So I
think that's a really important piece to all of this as well. No, I completely agree. I think that's a really important piece, that you are probably too restricted. And then I also think you've got something else going on with either jealousy or resentment that you really need to figure out and resolve, because you will not move forward until you resolve this. And you will probably, even if you like resolve this specific issue, like, and you're not jealous of how people eat, the jealousy will probably keep coming up in your life in other ways.
Yeah.
So, because I can really tell from this, if you're triggered that severely by this, there is a deeper rooted issue with jealousy, anger, frustration. So really look into that and just apply all of those tips as much as you can.
Yeah, because you're like saying, this is the thing, girl, you're not jealous of the food. Like, are you really jealous of the food? Because if it's really just the food, then go make yourself a paleo version of whatever they're eating. Because there's a paleo version of every single food out there. If you don't know where a paleo version is, literally email me and I'll send you a link to a recipe on the internet. I will find one, you know. But the truth of the matter is, I don't think it's about the food. I don't think you're jealous of the food. It's something else, like Kara's saying.
Altogether, to me, it sounds like you're just wanting to live a different life. Mm-hmm. You're wanting to be something that you are not, and you have not come to terms with who you are and where you are in your life right now. And you're not proud of it. You're ashamed of it, and you're mad. You are mad that you have to eat this way. You are mad that you have all of these health issues and that you are forced to being paleo keto and that you're strict and that the world sucks and like, why me? Like, you are pissed. I see it in here. And like, you have to solve that, and you have to throw yourself these pity parties, and you have to get over it, or you will not move on, because you are only you and you can't be those other people. Once you're in the state that you are right now, you cannot go back to the life of eating junk food and binge drinking and feeling simultaneously okay. You can't do that. Like, maybe you can do it on occasion once you fully heal, but it's not something you can go back to. And quite frankly, why would you want to go back to that life? So be proud of where you are and get over your anger. It will really help you later on down the road. And I don't mean to say this because I'm like rude or a mean person, and I hope it's not coming across that way, but I think you honestly need some tough love. You need someone to tell you to get over it. And you need someone to tell you to accept yourself and love yourself where you are, because I don't think anyone's given you that yet.
Well,
so
I think that it would really benefit you to surround yourself with people who live a similar lifestyle. Like, I think that
one
like
step.
When I was in college and I was still trying to live this healthy lifestyle, but I was still hanging out with everybody who was living the typical college life, I felt weird too and resentful. And then as soon as I just started hanging out with people who had the same values as me, because this lifestyle, it's not just about food. These are about life values. It's about the value of taking care of your health, you know? And that's why it's like, I can be friends with people. Some of my best friends eat totally opposite me, but we're so close because they still are coming from a place of valuing their health, you know? So even if what they consider valuing their health is different than me, just that intention, that value of like caring about taking care of themselves is what we have in common. And it sounds like you don't have people in your life right now who are worried about taking care of their health. So like, surround yourself with people like that, and like, try to find people in real life who feel this way. And if not, then this is where things like, honestly, like, get out of your comfort zone. And I mean, this is why I think the internet can be helpful. Like in our Straight Up Paleo Pals group, right? Our Facebook group. Like, maybe there's someone in your area who you can meet up with, or even just like make an internet friend, or you can talk about things that you guys both like about health and wellness, you know? So I think a big piece of this is about who you're surrounding yourself with. Yep. As well.
I agree.
Okay.
Cool. Wow, that was a mouthful, y'all.
We nailed it. we really beat that horse to death.
Nailed it. Okay, you guys. That's a wrap. But just like quick reminder, our giveaway with Barukas, leave a rating and review, and just anyone who does that automatically entered into our Barukas giveaway. We're picking 5 people. Is that right?
Yep, 5 people.
5 people. That's a lot of nuts.
A lot of nuts.
A lot of these nuts. And then you can also check out our retreat. That's really important as well. So we're talking about community, come to our retreat and all of that. You can also join our Facebook group, Straight Up Paleo Pals. It's always a party in there. But okay, I think that's it.
All right. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you again next week. Bye.
All right. Bye.